the Cannabis Business Coach.
Hi, Mike Z here, author of the Cannabis Business Book, and you're listening to the Cannabis Business Coach podcast, where I chat with and coach the highest performing entrepreneurs in the cannabis industry.
Hi, Mike Z is. Hi, Mike Z is. Hi, Mike Z is the Cannabis Business Coach.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited for the first episode of the Cannabis Business Coach podcast. I could not have asked for a more perfect inaugural seminal guest, for this new cannabis media venture than a living legend of cannabis media entrepreneurship, the one and only Dave Tran, co-founder of Dope Magazine and more recently founder of Fairchild Events. Dave, it's such an honor and joy to have you here. When I got your email back, I reached out to a few people that I knew, and you were the first guy to get scheduled. And it was like a, divine providence. I was like, this is a sign that this thing is going to be good, because if I'm starting with Dave Tran, like, it's already a win. So thank you so much for being here.
When I see your name, I have good thoughts. And, when you're out there doing new venture like this, I was like, you know what, man, anything to support. And you've always been good to me and always been a good friend. So
thank you, man.
Congratulations. And thank you. Really, thank you. This is, I don't mind being the first guinea pig, but you know what I mean? It's just like, just like feels like talking to a friend. So,
well, I really appreciate you for making time and for being here and for taking the risk with me. I feel safe now on this journey into the cannabis media unknown to have you beside me from a safe distance, of course. Dave, I'm going to jump right in. I want to know, and I imagine the people might want to know, what's it like to be Dave Tran?
Oh, that's an interesting question, but sitting here, it's a very grateful David Tran. You know what I mean? I've for 45 years, I'm lucky to have this incredible life and experiences, and having nothing to really building stuff and really surrounding everything by family. There's just this real journey where I'm so grateful that I've been able to survive all of that and learn all of that, and I still continue to look to learn a lot more in my life. So I feel like just at that really great period where the balance is right, the family to me, which is the most important thing to me, and what drives me and what I do every single day is intact. And as that's intact, everything else seems to come intact. So right now, it's just very grateful. I get to do everything that I love to do, and I get to work with some incredible people every single day, like people that are just so it's incredible. We built these friendships and this trust so that we can start to do these things and start to do great things. And these conversations range from different industries and different parts of what we're doing. But ultimately at the end, it's me wanting to connect people so that they can, make some changes, do some good things, build some businesses, build some innovation, build some ways for all of us to be a little more successful. And I just think that's really where I'm at, just having that really fun time being able to work with the people I love and, going through these challenges too, which has, been, really tough. So that is another bonding experience for us.
I love that answer. I love the gratitude that oozes out of you. And for anyone who hasn't met Dave and hasn't worked with him, you're, in my opinion, one of the most energetic, high energy, high performing, burning the blunt on both ends guys I've encountered in this industry. Like, I've never seen you at an event just not pumped up and not oozing with joy, in an infectious joy. And so yes. It's amazing. It's amazing to have you here. I feel it through the screen, man.
Oh man, it's so exciting. You know what I mean? And I love it so much. And, I really have to give the ode to my mom. You know what I mean? She's a single mom with 5 kids, came over to America. And for me, hard work is always exemplified by what she had to do to get us here. So to me, it's in my blood, right? It's in everything I do, and if I do what I really love, then it's easy to just have a good time. And I mean, think about it. We're doing some pretty fun things, right? My life is around events and getting people together, and you know what I mean, getting the excitement to produce those type of experiences are really amazing, like gifts that we, you have. And again, it's not really that hard work. It's it's your life's work, I suppose.
I totally relate. As a, I don't know if you know, my family came to America from the former Soviet Union when I was a baby on 420.
Wow.
So I joke that, it's my destiny
yes,
to be doing this.
Man. Yes, it is.
That's why I got her on the wall back there, to remind me.
You are making everyone proud, man. Really. You are. Look at that. The motherland is real happy, man.
You gotta tell my mom that. She's like,
she will be, dude.
She's like, why didn't you stay at Google and be a normal person? Was there a moment when it all clicked for you and you decided to go all in on the cannabis industry?
Yeah, I would say there was 2 times, but the first time when I just tried it behind a 7-Eleven, in a pop can, that was a game changer. It was like my senior year, and it was like, schooling was done, and I'm moving on my own, and it's just like there's this big transitional period, and it was such just an incredible experience to have that and build that community and be a part of it from its grassroots. And that was like 26, 27 years ago. So really, like, coming back, started opening some bars, and that was kind of my life for a while, bars and nightclubs, and it was a very interesting period for me. But then someone's just like, as an entrepreneur, said, how would you like to open a medical cannabis store? And I was just like, at that time, I was like, yes, that's another dream. And you got into it with the idea that, okay, cool, I know all these people, and they're going to come in and they're going to go get their cards on the false, on pretenses of, the different ailments, and then come in. And what ended up happening, to my surprise, is that a lot of patients came in. And as I owned that store, I started watching people really start like telling their story and what this does for them. And it really were really medical patients. So that was a really, to me, an interesting part of me. It changed my perspective. And as we then built Dope Magazine, defending our patients everywhere. That's how it started, because it was all about the medical world. How can we learn about it, right? People weren't yet wanting to talk about it. We couldn't get things. We got the mayor on our first cover, which was amazing because it got a little bit of CNN coverage because it said, look at this dope, right? He was the first mayor to stand in front of the public and acknowledge that. So just an amazing like opportunity there, but it was always about the patients. And when I learned that, and it was a real game changer for me. And I think it has been for a very long time, that it really is medicine. And it is doing so much more for people's health and mental wellness. And these are the type of things that we're learning more and more each day. So I've learned that over the course of 27 years, a real respect for the plant, all the way through, first and foremost.
Can you share with the audience a little bit of, and I'm going to invite you not to be so humble, and to share a little bit about the successes that you've had with Dope Magazine and in business and entrepreneurship in general?
I'm an entrepreneur, so I love different things. I mean, I've had so many LLCs because I'm one of those people that, love to build things. And, it started young, in the nightclub, like promotional business. And I had that business where we're handing out flyers and, again, newspaper, you'd have to get ads. I mean, this is real old school marketing, right? We had flyer teams, right? With UV flyers, putting flyers in there. So that started kind of that hospitality side of it. And then as I bought into 16 years ago, started a concept called, Cowgirls Inc. And that was a bar with mechanical bull and cowgirls dancing on the bar and being very engaging and really throwing a party. We were doing it, selling fun. And that was 16 years ago. And, it was supposed to be a Coyote Ugly. But, what they didn't want was they didn't want a mechanical bull or a DJ. So we said, you know what, we're going to do it ourselves, right? We threw away this franchising money, which again, you don't get back. And then we started this thing. So 16 years later, we're still on First and King in Seattle, right near the stadiums, with success for the Seahawks and all that. And I've lived in Seattle for 42 years, so this is my city. So it's just like the really, a lot of love for Seattle. This is really where my roots are. So, got into the bar industry, opened a nightclub, also Venom and Amber. These things were hot for about 8 years. Going through even like the 2008 part where it started getting really rough. No more champagne, on the ground, Cristal being poured out, like it was, right? You're drinking bottles in your car and, freaking coming in, you know what I mean? And not spending $1 because you're, freaking bankrupt. So it was, a tough time, but, it really built a lot of like understanding. And it's interesting that the transition into cannabis, and it started with the store, CCC, Conscious Care. That's really how I met my partners for Dope Magazine. And of course, I worked with James and Evan. They owned a magazine called D-List. And so we worked together. So this is kind of how it all came together. And, Dope came together in 2011. 30 days. We said we were going to do it. I picked up the phone. I called a friend and said, I need $30,000 without flinching. This very, really, big DJ in Vegas just said, and this was a while ago, just put that money in there. And we just put the content together, somehow got the mayor for the cover, and somehow we shared a spot at HempFest. Like literally, like just came in there, took a part of it, and passed out our first, Dope magazine at HempFest, which, to me is still like, such a landmark, because in '94, I went to the first HempFest, and that's how I got started with it. So like Vivian knows that story, and he just like, I have some crazier stories than that. Back in those days, we were wild and we had a great time, and we freaking were just a bunch of wild hippies, just like smoking weed, eating acid, doing mushrooms. I mean, it was just like really exploring ourselves, and, Dave, the dreadlock guy, and,
Nice. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Was that before the Tranimal became a thing?
I think Tranimal is always there. I love people. I can't get it. I get excited and I just kind of just can't help it, So I think that just has been with me my whole life. These guys just have coined it a little bit, because this has been an exciting journey, I mean, and all the great people we meet, I can't help but get excited. I mean, it's just like, it's nuts that, you know what I mean? That it's just come full circle like that.
What's your superpower? What's allowed you to be successful?
Oh, that is, like I said, I'm going to resort back to my mom, you know what I mean? Just looking at the way, a single woman, without a husband can raise 5 kids, just over from America, with nothing, with no pennies to do a thing. And to me, I just think that she's my superhero. And so I look at like the kind of the gratefulness, and also like the never give up. Our family is kind of, I'm all my sisters. We just are like, we just don't give up. We all have very strong wills. Like my mom is to follow through with things, and have integrity and just do things the right way. It might take a little bit longer, but the truth is it's more about the long-term successes, and sometimes it takes time, and that's kind of how you do it. Sometimes just like you build a great reputation, you build a great name, you know what I mean? You do things the right way, and eventually the doors open, and you could do that with a smile. You could do that with a handshake now, because now you already have the proof of concept and the idea that you can accomplish that. So there's less of a conversation. So I think getting closer to the deal by just understanding, people's backgrounds, that's kind of where, with the people part of it, it's always important in business. It's just like, who are your partners? Who are the people in your key positions? And again, ultimately what, your, the company culture is. Yeah, I know I didn't answer your question. So
no. I'm hearing. I heard 3 different things in there, which I heard resilience, I heard compassion, and I heard gratitude.
Hey
So
man, are you coaching right now, man?
no, I'm just listening.
That's
I'm just
perfect.
listening.
I love it. I love it, man. You're great jumping into it. You're great at
Well,
that.
we'll
Like,
get to that. Well,
right?
this is just the
Okay.
warm up. This is just the warm up, man. Most recently, you launched a new venture, Fairchild, and as I understand, and please correct me if I'm wrong, it was mostly meant as an events-driven business.
Yes.
And of course, I'm in the events business in New York, and that business is on quarantine. It's on lockdown. It's become illegal for people to gather. I'm curious, how has COVID and coronavirus and this whole pandemic that we're in, how has that impacted business for you?
Well, it stopped business completely. For me, events are forbidden and they should be right now. And that's what needs to happen if we want to get to this thing quicker. So I think, it's tough, right? When you're building that business. And I feel sorry for a lot of other business, like event producers that I've been friends with for a long time. They've built some really value because these things help businesses grow. And that's what we need. And so like the idea that, companies are going to suffer, through a period where they're really expecting this revenue. They're companies that are relying on it. Shareholders are relying on it. It really comes down to, getting quicker to the end here, but also opening up opportunities for other ways to communicate. And I'm starting to see that, and that's what we had to do. So, the platform, itself wasn't launched yet, but we were already producing events. So we had 4 events that we were planning for 420, for a lot longer than, and of course, we have a bunch of different events that we're throwing. So, quickly right away, we wanted to kind of find a way to, keep on understanding how this is going to change in the future, how communication is going to change, because it will forever be changed, right? How much, but it's just something new that I haven't been, as privy to. Like I said, I'm very old school, from flyers to all the way to magazines, and, this technology stuff becomes massively, important. So we really wanted to take the time. So we did a live stream. We did the chronic relief. Just in a couple of weeks, we just wanted to just stay connected with our community. We wanted to keep everybody in the loop, and let's all do something good for the common good too, right? Let's make sure that, during this time, that's a really great way to rally around each other. And amazingly, a lot of people rallied to that, giving portion of it. And at the same time, it was incredible that we can all work together and look at this new technology and make it useful for other companies. And so, the Fairchild part of it, it's given us some time too to now build our infrastructure. Look at kind of like overall too, is our model just for cannabis, or can we now look at like maybe like psychedelic events and these other alternative events, like be an alternative platform? So again, it spawned for a lot of creativity and insight, and how can we build more content and these type of things. And again, it's just, we're building a new business, so we're used to the challenges. I don't think anyone can figure out a challenge like COVID would be to folks, but we're at the beginning parts of our business, so we can kind of pivot a little bit easier. But to me, how can I immediately support all those event producers, right? Because those are going to be my audience and my partners in the future. So how can we right now help you still connect to your audience and still make a viable business out of it?
And for the folks who are listening or watching and may not know, 420, Dave and his team put out, basically it took like a old school telethon fundraiser type thing and made the digital modern version of it to unite the community and raise money to feed people in need. It's super cool to see that happen in the industry, that people are rallying for a good cause. And I want to commend you on your leadership and initiative and your team for making that happen.
Yeah, and it's nothing without all the people who contributed. It's just like we're we're just putting out the time, but the people who are just like Whoopi and Tommy, they all put out a message, and it was really nice. And like everybody did it voluntarily. Dab Stars, just going in there, chapter 2, Wick and Mortar, everyone came in and said, cool, we'll all do the logo, I'll do this. And everybody just came together like that. It was just like the most amazing 2 weeks. And I did it like right when we were leaving Mexico and trying to, get back to the United States. And we just wanted to stay active, stay connected. And it really checked off all the boxes. So what an experience for us. It wasn't perfect, and there's a lot of things that we could have done. But, to me, I'm so proud of the team.
I think it's pretty cool to have the chance to put something together so quickly and to just experiment, right? To experiment and just to see, oh shit, like this is how much we could do in 2 weeks without a game plan, just kind of spontaneously. Like I think there's something empowering that must come from that, right?
Well, it's one of those things, experiences are everything. You know what I mean? It's just like there's things that I'm not very comfortable with doing, but I do it just because if I know I did it, then I would know what it felt like. I don't know if that even makes any sense, but I think these challenges are, just something that, we all look for as we, kind of move on, and we've seen a lot of different things. We try to challenge ourselves in different ways. And again, it still has that scariness, still has that risk factor, like this could have blown out in our face and it could have been nothing, but we, raised, for 90,000 meals, like for, and that's, to me, something that 2 weeks ago, we could have just been, kind of holding back and trying to worry about how we're going to figure out our own situation, because those things are happening too. You know what I mean? My bar closed down. My event company closed down. Thank goodness I have Goldfingers, which is also my consulting company. And I have a lot of different ones. We have a grow down in Colorado, and we also consult someone here. So diversity is very important, right? If you have those opportunities, you're prepared. And I've been there when I wasn't prepared. And again, it takes a long time to get to that point, but you have to go through some of those lumps and some of those experiences to really appreciate it and understand it too.
Absolutely, man. And that kind of thing only really comes from experience. So for all of those less experienced or aspiring cannabis business people, cannabis entrepreneurs listening to this, pay attention to the gems that David is dropping and diversify those revenue streams, because you never know when a worldwide pandemic might hit and shut down some of your businesses.
Like this is how crazy it is. I had a long time ago, my friend, we put $2,000 like back in like 90 something into a stock account, and I didn't look for years, and I looked up and all of a sudden it was like $40,000, and apparently we bought some Amazon a long time ago at the embassy. But it's just like, it's funny, you know what I mean? Small little things, that will continue to help. And yeah, it's risky, and I don't think everyone's adverse to risk. And I know, like, my wife doesn't. She's conservative, you know what I mean? She sees me and she's like, there's Dave again. I'm like, well, I can't help it. This is who I am, right? I just can't. You are who you are in that instance. So anyways,
this attitude towards challenges and towards not necessarily seeking out challenges per se, but recognizing challenges as an opportunity to lean in and push yourself. I think that's a critical piece of the entrepreneur's journey. And, it sounds like that's something that you've really embodied. And, in my experiences, that's a necessary thing to do in order to grow.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. At some point, fear will stop you from going all the way. When really, I look at it like a ski jump. It's just like, you can't slow down. You got it. And as you get closer, it's scary, but you can pull away right now, and you won't fear maybe crashing, or you can go all the way, and you know what I mean, and keep on going. It's hard to slow down and not commit to a certain thing. And that's why entrepreneurship is scary. It's a real faith in, like, going in, and this is where your time is, this is where your energy is at. this is where you risk, everything, right? There's a risk, there's a reward to what we're doing. Because again, we're building this all ourselves, whether we have money to fund it or whether we have to go do whatnot. It's just like, it's you have to go through these parts to really understand.
Fear is guaranteed. Our brains are built to create fear and to be afraid and to recognize danger. So it never goes away, no matter what. Even if you have all the experience and all the confidence, you're still going to have that fear response come up. And there's this quote that I love. I'm not going to get it right, but it's something like, courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward in spite of the fear.
You're right on. You're right on target.
A broken clock is wrong even twice a day. So I want to ask you, what are you excited about for the future of this industry? Or what excites you today about cannabis or psychedelics or business or life in general? Just what gets you charged up?
I'm telling you, it's psychedelics. You hit on that. I start seeing the benefits of psychedelics, microdosing, and I'm starting to see people give me a lot of good reason to believe that this could be the next great wave of, influence in our culture, something that's every day. And, as I'm trying it myself, just to let you know, I'm on a nice regimen also, and I'm exploring it too. I'm exploring my own mind right now. How do I deal with these things, what's going on here? Because this could be absolutely overwhelming for anybody right now. If you don't have the right mindset right now, it's very tough to be able to challenge yourself to all of these changes. You know what I mean? Whether it's like trying to push, a new idea or something like that. It's just like, if you're doing it from the right place. And I just think that I see a lot of benefits in it. To me, diversity, right? It's just like, look at different parts of it. And, for Fairchild, we're like, how can we diversify the audience too? Cannabis is absolutely, still, our love, my love, and there's so much, and there's a lot we could talk about in that, but that new exciting kind of next thing is right around that psychedelics. And I'm interested in it. We're going to look at it and really think about the aspect of, there's a lot of learning that could be done right now. And there's a lot more. I think there's a lot more people that are trying it than you can think. And right now it's exactly like the way cannabis is. It's not very normalized for someone to do LSD or mushrooms and still be considered a person that is not high, right? Mm-hmm. But truthfully, I'm not high right now. You know what I mean? I'm just me right now. Mm-hmm. Just a little bit more, I'm utilizing a little more of the, the ability I have in myself. It's already mine. So, I'm just tapping into my own bank account, so to say, you know what I mean?
That's amazing. It's funny. I have a mentor who asked me once, kind of tongue in cheek. I think he knew that this question would stump me, and I was feeling all smart and like I, oh yeah, I know shit. I'm like, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, hey, so Michael, what does it mean to be high? Like, what's it mean to get high? What's it mean if someone's high? And I was just like,
oh no.
I was like, I don't know, but I'm going to go eat some food and it's going to be great.
I'll be like this. Have you ever kissed someone, sir? Is that, yes, it's that high that you get, you know what I mean? It's an endorphin rush. You know what I mean? That makes you freaking smile. Anyway, that's funny.
That's funny. That's great. All right. Well, Dave, I want to put my serious hat on now, and I want to invite you to step into maybe an uncomfortable or challenging and potentially psychedelic experience,
Sure. Okay.
which is I want to shift gears, and I want to put my coaching hat on, and I want to invite you to bring some kind of business challenge or even a personal challenge, and I want to offer you some coaching if you're willing.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. All right. So everyone saw that he said yes. I'm not twisting his arm. No,
okay. Wow. But I'm thinking now, what kind of because I'm going through, I mean, like any entrepreneur, I'm trying not to overextend myself, right? Because entrepreneurs have a lot of opportunities and a lot of people call on me to do different things. I'm advising on several different companies, but I also want to give the respect to be able to, so I think in the event business, I think this is a good question for you, to kind of talk to you about where you think it's going to go. Because right now we have this platform, while digital events become more prevalent, it replaces some of the obviously the non-one that's might, events might not come back on for, a little bit. I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to throw out a number out there on how many months that's going to take, but I'm starting to see people set themselves up for that. And, where do you see, like, as far as, where's our angle, as far as this is, the events are shut off, the digital events are there. I mean, where do you see, again, we're at that really, really pivotal moment where I feel we're going to need to either look at like this digital world and, put some more attention on that, or we focus on the in live persons and events. So maybe it's not, I don't know if that's the greatest question.
No,
we can redo this one if you need to.
No. There's no redos here. We this is all about keeping it real and keeping it funky.
I'm still trying to search it out, so I don't even have a question for you. I'm just trying to kind of figure out, like, from the digital side of it, should we be focusing all of our things in, because we're at this young company who's like, we have limited me and him, right? And a couple other people to help. So we're really lean and tight. Where should we put it in? Should we put it in content? Should we put it in the technology and doing that? Should we focus in on producing like events? So those are the three sectors. So I'm just trying to figure out what the best source of time I should be focusing.
Got it. So I'm hearing, let me make sure I'm hearing you correctly, which is the question or the challenge you're up against right now is, where do we focus given the uncertainty around events and people gathering, and what's the best use of our resources right now?
Jeez, you're really good, bro. That's it.
Is that it? So
well, it took me a long time to get to kind of that synopsis there.
So I'm going to ask you a few more questions. I'm not going to provide too many answers because I trust that you know much better answers than I do for yourself. My first question that comes to mind, and I have to say I do appreciate this conversation. I'm going to get a lot out of it because I also have the same exact problem in my events business. So I guess here's my first question that comes to mind is, what is the service that you're providing and to whom?
Okay. So before this, the service was, we had three parts. We had production, where we were producing events for companies. So we've done several of them. Urbana over there, they had a launch party. We put that together. We had our golden ticket party. So we produce events, and we've done that for a very long time. So we can help companies really cut their runway to doing what they do really great, and we really to handle the rest of that part. That's one part of it. The part that we were actually building and is getting close to like the first version of it right now is a platform for event producers, as well as a platform, a community platform for people to engage, see where events are, engage in media and, pictures and those type of things. And so there's this now that we have this platform that, helps event producers in the background. Right now, everyone's using Eventbrite. They're kicking people off. You know what I mean? They haven't supported cannabis in a very long time. We need someone to come in there and help solve this problem with these tickets so that people don't get taken down, and that it's reasonable, and that it's safe, and that at the same time too, it turns around and helps people market their company or their events. And it also builds this really incredible interaction between each other through events, right? So there's just this real opportunity to kind of do what we love too, and what we've done throughout Tote Magazine, the bar industry, hospitality, as well as solve some problems. So that's the second part. Then the third one is the brand. I think it goes hand in hand with the company. It's just like we're a lifestyle brand also, which, several opportunities, with that. And we're used to that because we built Dope Magazine.
So what is that interaction that you're facilitating?
So to me, event producers, you know what I mean, utilize services like event. So I don't know if this is the question I'm answering or not like that. You said that. Can you say that again?
I heard you mention, facilitating this interaction when you create events and allowing people to connect. And
yes.
And so I want to dive into a little bit of the core of what is that experience. And I heard you say earlier, it's all about the experience. What is that experience that you're creating that resonates for your audience?
Yeah, well, I think, events has become this incredible way to connect people, especially if you look at the evolution in the cannabis industry. It's really changed, and a lot of these events become prevalent. There's absolute need for people to want to see where there is, and with the app that's intuitive enough to be able to show someone who lands in Seattle, this is where I go, where there's a lot of the same people that are similar to me, and building to me this platform that's very intuitive to understand that. To me, also giving a chance for people to see, event producers produce these events and load up pictures and share those pictures with everyone. So everyone's able to kind of continue to share that around. So, there's a real opportunity there for people to use free events or paid events for this. And it doesn't matter to us. We just want to be able to provide this great tool so that you can manage your audience. At the same time, we want to be able to give these options on the main interface to be able to promote your event and to be able for people to kind of continue to be engaged in it.
Got it. So let me ask you this. What do you think is the biggest problem event producers are facing right now?
Well, I think just beside the fact that you just can't do it, you know what I mean? How long, when do you invest in it? At what point do you invest in it right now? Because, we know that, some big events take, a long time to build out. There's deposits that get done. There's risks that get done pretty early for it to be really uncertain. And I think also people will be, a little more cautious to kind of understand when they can actually do it, because, I think everyone too is, kind of holding off somewhat before they employ a lot of resources. So that's really affected, to me, the media companies and all of those ancillary businesses too.
Right. So, I mean, I'll share with you my personal view, which is I don't think big events are going to happen anytime soon. Personally, I and that's from someone who would really love for them to happen, because I can make some money there and do something that's fun for me, which is create these experiences. I just don't see it happening anytime soon. And even if things open up, I know me personally, I don't want to go to my event right now. I don't want to be in a room of, 100 strangers plus or more. That seems scary to me. And I fear that that's the new normal for potentially several quarters. And so what comes up for me, though, in hearing you is that, and I felt this too, this is true for me too, is that people want to connect. People need to connect. People need to socialize and meet other people and engage and have a sense of community. And right now there's a whole slew of people who made a living and built businesses around facilitating those experiences that are in this same position of wondering what the hell is happening. So I want to ask you, where's the biggest opportunity for all of that, for in all of that for you?
It'd have to be on the digital side. It'd have to be on the content side. I mean, one of the things that we look at, we can't build revenue right now. A really important thing we could do is build audience, right? And build up all of our, social assets and, kind of, as we roll out the platform, really build more content, right? So we can continue to, gain more traction. So that's something that we could do right now. And also like, doing the, chronic relief virtual show, we now have these assets to put together pretty cool events now. Whether it's award shows or whether it's something, I think we understand how to program something like that, so it could be, so event producers can still keep their name out. And I just saw, other big event producers now move on to a couple like virtual platforms. I know a couple of platforms that are coming out there where they're just like, here are the rooms, here are the keys, here, like you pay to do this. And it's a really intuitive on what it looks like. And so I think people are thinking about that. So, where we lie in there is like, we have that virtual part of it, but we also, to me, can work on our content, right now, and build up those assets while the events come online. When we do have the ticketing platform, virtual events can use it as their platform to, organize their efforts and get it out there to a bigger audience. And that audience continues to grow as we bring in different events that, vary from small little events to big festivals. We want to provide those services. And, to me, as an event producer, you're also going to have the opportunity to, help find sponsors and get all these other tools, like where are the compliant event venues at? This is like stuff that will help curate as well as the marketing piece of it. So it's not only just a platform, it also is going to be an opportunity, again, for people to engage in there. And as the events start coming online, people are really going to start to see like, wow, I can't believe I could do all this cool stuff out there. And there really isn't a calendar out there. It's like, what can I do that's out there? It's like their minds is like blown, but why not? Like, here you can paint, here you can go to this convention. And to me, it also is going to start encompassing regular events, because cannabis people love music festivals too. They love regular things. And to me, we want to incorporate that. So I think if we're trying to build that connection around the world, doing it through events make a lot of sense. I think people find a lot of joy in them. They're invested in them, and it's not a bad angle to go in.
Cool. So I'm hearing that the first thing you gave me was audience development through content, digital content. That seemed to be the leverage point that you mentioned. Is that fair?
Yes. Yeah, that's fair.
So I want to ask you to kind of let's be real simple and get to the essential of what makes your events so badass.
Me, I'm lucky because I just have the incredible, team. So my team is the one that puts it all together. They literally go, we have an idea, we're running with it. Dave, what you have to do, you know what I mean? Let's get this hyped up. Let's get sponsors in. Let's be able to connect. And, and then when I get there, without fail, they've put on this incredible experience. You know what I mean? To me, it's always about creating this memory that lasts a long time. That's how you bring value to your sponsors. You bring it to others like, oh, I remember that one event. And there's always like those little sites. So it's like psychologically being able to just make sure too that no one's against the wall, right? No one's just standing, like being a spectator. Our events is always about interaction. It's always about like somehow moving people into the direction where they're going to connect somehow. And we do that, and that's, part of what I do. And, my job is to, just make sure I'm continue to connect. Wow, this is a great person from here. And that's the great part about, doing those type of events is being able to do that.
So I'm hearing that it's that getting people to connect and participate and interact in a way that's memorable and leaves a positive memory for them.
Yes. Yes.
So I want to invite you to get high with me for a second in your thinking, and to imagine we're talking a year from now, and you're telling me, wow, Mike, I put on the most epic, interactive, community connecting, fun, memorable digital event. And it was just a huge success for the sponsors, for the audience, for me and my team. What might that look like?
Well, I'm optimistic. I think that's going to happen. I think that we're going to do it, whether it's a year from now in person and, or through a virtual event. I think that all we have right now is our ability to be able to do it. We have the you know what I mean? The excitement to do it. And right now we have a lot of the tools to do it. I just think that's the incredible part, is that now we're working with different people that are experts in this field. So really it's just about formulating the right team. And we're talking to all sorts of event producers right now. So we just talked to a fundraiser who's doing a cannabis cup. How do we put this into virtual form? Right? How do we still do it in a way that it just doesn't look like it's in Zoom, but it's very well produced? This is good memory to me, sponsors. It's good memory for anybody who gets involved, because they're getting their message put out in the way that really fits what they want, to be portrayed as also. So I think we're just trying to, find a market for that part of it. There's, these big event producers are probably thinking a lot about, how they continue to engage with their people. And so, if we can provide, again, more tools, more opportunity to take care of that part for them, it would be pretty amazing. Like you said, it would be great to be able to do that.
So I'm hearing some excitement from you now. I'm wondering, what about what we just talked about is getting you excited?
Well, to me, it's all about it's always about putting together like the plan. And it's just like, it's interesting how we're looking at a very uncertain future, but you have to continue to build the ship to go toward that direction. So the exciting part is to really kind of validate that, okay, digital part is probably going to play a very important piece in what we're doing. And that's something that we should probably continue to work on. And to you, like content too, like it sounds like you agree that, content probably is a good thing for us to continue to build that type of content and build up our name. So when we can, hit the ground running, we can, hit it running when things do come back online.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I have one more question, but I want to offer you this thought, which is, again, every event producer and every event business has this same problem right now. And I think, this challenge, it's basically an industry-wide challenge if you're in the events business. And that to me represents, an industry-wide opportunity for innovation and for reinvention. And I think what's really cool about that is that no one knows what it's going to look like, and no one knows, what that, badass, super memorable, professional, successful, connecting, engaging event or digital event or hybrid event or whatever, like no one knows what that's going to be yet, because, to my knowledge, like no one's really pulled it off on a grand scale yet. Or maybe they have, I mean, people have definitely done stuff here and there. And I mean, you yourself have had a successful event that impacted 90,000 hungry people, which is, no small task and a big accomplishment, especially considering you had 2 weeks to put it together. So, from where I sit, it sounds like you're already ahead of the curve. And so I want to invite you to really get excited and in imagining what is this, how are you going to define this new frontier? Because I think that's what we're on the cusp of, a new frontier in events and interaction, and what that might look like, whether things open back up soon or not. I think no matter what, there's a big paradigm shift.
Yes,
So,
agree.
yeah. So I think it's pretty cool that you get to figure that out, and you're on the forefront of it. Oh, you're already on the cutting edge of it. So I just want you to be clear about that.
Thank you. Yeah. We've seen a lot of new things. We've seen a lot of, like you said, new frontiers. You know what I mean? We have a lot of mavericks in our, cannabis industry that, continue to look at this, said, okay, what's next? What can we do to continue to elevate it even more? It's always been a group of people that have done that. So it's, been an honor to, continue to work with them. And, you doing this podcast here, you continue to, again, just spread information. And I just think that's good and good stuff, and it comes from a good place, and, what you've done there. And, I believe we'll all get back to where it is, but this type of interaction continues to make the world go round. And I appreciate being, here for it.
Well, thank you for that, man. I'm waiting for you to be able to give me the mechanical bull experience digitally. That's what I want, man. No, just kidding. I want the virtual mechanical bull. That's what I want. Dave, let me ask you one last question, which I have to ask. My go-to last coaching question is, what was the biggest insight you got from our conversation or our time together today?
Wow, there's a lot. I just think you just have to stop. You have to appreciate what you have, in front of you. And I feel that, like, I think reflecting like this, and kind of helps you, allow you to maybe look at what the future can hold also. So while I'm talking to you, I'm jumbling, because you're trying to figure out what that problem is, because it's, in business, that's what it sounds like. And this is what it sounds like on the bed of a psychologist. You throw all this crap out. And I think just kind of putting it together and slowing it down a little bit, I think the easier I can explain it without, you know what I mean? I'm feeling it already. So how do I now slow it down and kind of, put it into perspective? And I think maybe that's what I would say, I got out of that.
So I want to ask you, I want to clarify a bit. You said I'm feeling it and putting it into perspective. Tell me what it is that you're feeling, and then put it into the perspective.
Yeah. Well, that's to me, Can you repeat that? I'm sorry, I just kind of spaced off actually on the last thought that we were talking about for a second there.
It's all good. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath, man. It's all good. We got plenty of time. What you described the feeling in your last answer to me. You mentioned this feeling, and then you said, being able to express that feeling. So, or put it into perspective, I think you said. I'm not sure. What was that feeling?
Well, to me, excitement. To me, I'm always excited about where the future is going. I see all of these as really not roadblocks, but just more challenges. And even while everything is tough out there, like perspective-wise, I could stop and I could just think, wow, I'm grateful for what I have. Right. And I'm grateful that I have these opportunities that, has been afforded because, you know what I mean? You've taken the chances, of, all of these other times.
Who took those chances? I didn't take those chances. Who took those chances?
I did. And it's hard for me to accept that, but it's a whole lot of people that make it happen. I don't feel like it's always me. It's always it's my family and, everybody that surrounds me. So I, like to make sure everyone gets that credit for, what I've done. So
you've got a heart of gold, and I'm going to insist that you claim something about yourself that's allowed you to have that success and to share that experience with your team and your family, and what is it about you that's allowed for all of that to happen?
Yeah. Well, it's everybody else. I don't have I usually don't like to, it's not about me, and it's it's always been like that. I don't know why I have a hard time, like, accepting any sort of, praise from that sort, because again, I've just been so fortunate to be surrounded by these great people, and my family. And I mean, I'm just so lucky. So, I do a lot of that for them. So.
Oh, so what kind of guy is surrounded by great people and feels really lucky and, has a full life with, awesome people around them and feels good and grateful? What kind of person has that experience?
I don't know, someone that just, you know what I mean? It's like what you said, experience. You have to go through a long life of maybe perhaps some pain, some good things, some bad things, a lot of different, things. And if you feel all of those emotions, you feel really satisfied that you've experienced what life has had to offer for you. And I've always taken chances. I've always, lived my life to like the fullest that I want to. I've always strived to do what I like to do, and that's just been amazing. And I've taken chances, and I've lost a lot, and I've gained a lot, and I'm just getting started. And so it feels really good. It's just, I don't feel like there's this beginning or end date right now. It's just like, I'm just getting started right now. And I'm just happy to be alive. I'm happy to, just have all this experience. And like, even to talk to you, I'm like, why am I even on this thing? I'm just a dude, like a freaking, I got toys over here, and I got like, about to go upstairs and have, and clean the dishes or something like that. But it's just like, this is amazing that, all of these experiences led to just these type of conversations and these opportunities. So yeah, I never take that for granted.
That's amazing. That was awesome. Thank you for that. I'm going to ask you one last time, and then I'll let you off the hook.
Yeah.
What must be true about you that you feel just happy to be alive, grateful, like you're starting just now, even though you have all this experience and you've gone through pain and losses and wins, and you're just grateful and humble? What's true about you that allows you to feel that way? And it could sound like I am fill in the blank.
I don't want to use the word lucky, but you know what I mean? I just very fulfilled. I'm just very fulfilled right now. It's just like, I just think I've just, I'm full, you know what I mean? I don't know what it is. It's like, I've already, if this was the last day, I'd still feel pretty good about what I've done, for the world, and, for my family, and for these things that I really hold dear into my heart. So, my life is for those things. I hope I'm making them proud. I hope I make my single mom proud, like every single day. I want her to, have the life that, what I mean, that she worked so hard to take care of us for. And I want my children too, who, me, I've never, I met my dad once. So, to be a father to them is, to me, like, everything that I could do in my life, and work hard and take these chances, and, and my wife too, who again, just like keeps me right there, where I need to be. So, while I'm doing all these other things, it really is because of this is the reason why I'm moving the way I'm moving. And I'm excited about that, because they push me every day to go be myself, to go do what I do. And it's hard to explain what I do, but it's just like, they're just like, go and do that, because you seem happy and you seem to, come home happy. And, now I get to stay home with them all day. So I couldn't be, I'm just living this, incredible, experience right now. So.
I love it, man. I love it. It sounds to me like you said you were full. I heard you say you were full, and it sounds like you're full of gratitude.
Yes, that's what it is. Yes, that's the words. Yes, a lot of gratitude right now. Like, I should be dead in the water somewhere along the way. seriously, I should be like, I shouldn't be here. You know, I just think about that. It's just a strange thing without all these things that happen. It's just like, why would I even be sitting here right now? I wouldn't be sitting here saying that I'm having this wonderful event like this, you know? So I just am grateful for that, for sure.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, Dave, I am so grateful that we got to spend this time together.
Thanks for trying it out with me. You put me on the spot a few times. That was an incredible session though. You know what I mean? Makes you really answer some real questions, which again was, you know, that's what this is all about. This session is all about. It's pretty, kudos to you.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it, man. Well, I gotta say, you see the big smile on my face, right?
You got a great smile right there. Yeah.
Thank you. Because, you know,
podcast number 1 here. So
this is number 1. And if we stopped today, if this was the one and only, I would be fulfilled and complete, God. Because we covered, you know, all of my favorite topics, from psychedelics to gratitude to, you know, the entrepreneurial journey, and, you know, to have someone who I really admire and respect and look up to as my first guest, and to have the privilege and the opportunity and the trust from you to, you know, to dance with me, if you will, in the coaching spirit is such an honor. And it's really a dream come true, because, you know, once upon a time, if you would have told me, Mike, you'll have the chance to coach, you know, if even for a few minutes, some of the most brilliant, successful people in cannabis, I would say, yeah, right. Come on, man.
And I'm trying to learn from you. You know what I mean? Honestly, this is a learning experience for me. I see it that way. I'm not all the way to where I'm great at everything. That's why we have different relationships with different people. This is what you're great at. And I just appreciate you letting me just kind of talk through there. I could, you know, this stuff is just fun to talk about when we're just kind of having just a regular conversation like this. So I appreciate that. That was fun.
Awesome, man. Well, yeah. Thank you so much again. And I'm super excited to see what you cook up in the year to come and in the years to come. So
yes,
yeah, man. Thank you again. I just remembered I have to tell the people, tune in for episode 2 next week.
Tune in to episode 2.
Hi, Mike Z is. Hi, Mike Z is. Hi, Mike Z is the Cannabis Business Coach. Hi, Mike Z is. Hi, Mike Z is. Hi, Mike Z is
the Cannabis Business Coach.